This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen, over here with my co-host Mikey. How are you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? I am just basking in the glow of the MCU right now. It just feels like we're on the cusp of a renaissance of the MCU. This is almost akin to the 1989 Disney animated renaissance. I think that we're about to hit that period where, you know, everybody was so down on the MCU for so long, and then here comes Spider-Man Brand New Day, ushering in, if you will, a brand new day for the MCU. I'm excited. And I know we are about to talk about the box office, and of course we will talk about our feelings about the movie later on. It's just a great time to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, box office wise, this weekend is the biggest box office weekend in cinema history.
Yes.
Someone may argue ticket sales. I don't know that, on that scale, but gross $428 million, and it's just above the 402 or 401 point something the Endgame has held the record for since 2019, April 2019.
Yep.
Spider-Man comes in at 355 domestic, second best opening all time. When the numbers come in today at noon, it could be the best all time.
Yeah.
Worldwide box office of $927 million. This is a $250 million budgeted movie.
Yes.
Endgame, which opened similar numbers, a little bit bigger worldwide, was a $400 million movie. This thing wins just on that comparison alone. I'm not saying it's a better film than Endgame, or but feel about it what you feel about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just saying, in terms of profit and what the studios see, I mean, this is a huge win for a smaller brand, a smaller potato film.
There's just something in the air about being a movie fan right now. The younger generation, and I can say this because my daughter, who's a teenager, so I guess that means she's not Gen Alpha, but maybe Gen Z, maybe. I don't know what
she
the
might
years.
Be young Gen Z, old
Gen Z. Like, she gets excited, and her friends get excited about going to a theater. And maybe like 2 years ago, I would have never thought that my daughter would have gotten to this point where she's like excited about going to the movie with her friends. She's got one friend that I know has listened to our podcast in the past who's like a cinephile. But now, like, all of them just get like hyped about going to see, like, they went and saw the Odyssey. I would have never in a million years thought that my daughter would have gone to see the Odyssey. We went as a family on Wednesday night to the Amazon Prime screening of Spider-Man, and she was hyped for that movie. She was like, I want to see this again. It's good. So it's not like they're just seeing one particular type of film too. There's just, and like, physical media numbers are rising. Like, there's just this love of movies that I'm excited about. And it's been a while since I've felt that.
The Odyssey came in at 51 million, which is a 43% drop, which is fantastic. That's about the range I would want it to fall in with such a huge opening, like Spider-Man coming up on the heels of it. Toy Story still top three, number 3, 38% drop. Minions and Monsters still top 5. It's number 4 this week, 5.8 million. Moana not doing well, fell 50% this week, but it'll, it's going to make some money, but it's not going to make money into the green.
Like, what I'm not excited about is anything The Rock is in. I hate to say that. Like, I used to be like a Rock guy, but the movies he's making just feel like corporate nothingness. Like, there's no like heart behind them.
You know what I like about the Jumanji films?
And
just
this
to
is
go on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I like about the Jumanji films is each one has had him playing a different character.
Sure.
So he has to do something different in
That's
them.
true. That's true.
And he's got to bring a different flavor to it. I'm not saying those are, masterpiece films or anything.
Right.
I've had fun with the first two, and I thought the trailer for this one looked interesting. It's taken way too long to get here, but I'll be there to see it. I don't know if everyone else may be going to see Dune and Avengers weekend too, but
yeah. And I'm not naive. I obviously understand that Spider-Man Brand New Day is a corporate movie, but when you have creators who can bring something different to the table, like Destin Daniel Cretton, and just infuse this somewhat like natural feeling to what is a fantastical situation, it just sort of excites me about things to come. Now, I don't know if the Russos are going to be able to capture that same vibe, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited for Doomsday. I mean, how can you not be? It's going to be an epic movie, and I've already got my tickets to it. So it's not like I'm resting on my laurels and just like, oh, I'll see that when I'm going to go see it on the Thursday night opening night. I mean, it is that way. And I know for a fact that at least Rhett and myself are going to try and figure out a way to also see Dune Part 3 that night. I don't know how, like if we find an 11:59 p.m. showing of it or something, I'm going to try it. Look, it deserves to try. Oh, I know, but I don't have to work. I'm off work the next day and Rhett doesn't sleep. And so I know that we will find a way at 11:59 p.m. on whatever that is, December 18th, whatever that is.
I would be willing to bet Earl does not join you for that.
Oh, no, he won't. No, he'll have to work the next day. So no, he will not join us, but Rhett and I will find a way to make it happen. I don't know how, but we will. If we have to go to the West Coast to go back in time a little bit to catch it. No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where like I'd love to do that, but also I just don't want to give Dune that showing personally, because I know if I'm exhausted and I'm watching a big movie, I'm not going to give it the shake that I should be giving it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just me.
No, I'll ingest copious amounts of caffeine and it'll be fine.
So it'll be a fun weekend though, for sure.
Oh, it will be, yeah.
And I look forward to that. That should honestly, not to get too hard into that conversation, but we've talked about this before previously on the pod. Because they have such overlapping audiences, this will hurt both of those films, but the money they make overall will still probably put it in contention with some of the biggest weekends of all time.
I think so too. I mean, this year is going to be, it has to, I don't know if the year will break records, but there are going to be lots of records broken this year. I don't know overall if it will.
It will break post 2019 records.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
For sure. It'll be the biggest year since COVID.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I mean, that's amazing. I'm excited. I've never been more excited. Like I'm even joining Rhett sometimes on these screen unseen things. And I would never do that. Like I just on a Monday, I'm usually wanting to watch wrestling and the comfort of my home, but I'm even going out and attempting to watch these screen unseen, and so far we've had some good ones. We'll see what the one in the middle of the month is, but it is what it is.
Poor Nicholas Winding Refn.
Oh man,
fell 90% this week in his second weekend for Her Private Hell.
It's crazy and I don't know of many filmmakers who hits such a home run with Drive and then cannot follow it up with anything. But look, I mean, that's that Gosling magic. What can you say?
And even Gosling didn't save, and I've never seen it, but Only God Forgives was not well received.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't anywhere near as good as Drive was. And then he's just sort of, and some people like that, the one with Elle Fanning in it. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Some people do like that movie, but it seems like collectively there are a lot of people saying that Her Private Hell is not good, which is upsetting to me, because I do think Sophie Thatcher has the it factor, but she's just not choosing the right projects. I liked that horror film that she was in with Hugh Grant a couple years ago. I thought that was good. Heretic, I think, is what it's called. But
yeah.
she's just, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough out there. If you don't choose the right projects, or your team doesn't get you the right projects, then I mean, you're not going to have a long lasting career.
I'll give another shout out worldwide. Obsession hit 460 million as of this weekend, but was totally killed at the box office. If you look domestically, they went from Thursday, they went from 1,200 screens to 400.
Yeah.
And the per theater average dipped just slightly, but it's still over $1,000 per theater. But they, it dropped 70% because it lost most of its theaters, lost 2/3 of its theaters. So
part of me wants to believe that Obsession is what has ushered in this excitement from the younger generation to be going out and experiencing film in the cinema.
I think somewhat, yeah.
Because I can't really pinpoint anything before that, but there's been this like groundswell. It's been like one of those things that has been bubbling up, and now it's finally like exploded.
I get what you're saying, but I think Spy would be just as big without Obsession.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
It would be a giant. Yeah, I mean, you're not getting 900 million because of Obsession.
No, that's true. That's true. You're getting 900 million obviously because of repeat viewings and it's crazy that it's doing that without IMAX.
Well, it's doing it without IMAX. It does all the other PLFs for the most part, but the other thing is, and not talked about as much, but they waited 5 years to do a sequel, and that builds anticipation and creates excitement for the next one to come out. You leave the last one off on kind of a cliffhanger with his friend's minds being erased and people wondering what's going to go on. And we'll get to it, but you can see it in some of the trailers, but I like that narratively they decide to skip forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will.
But if you want to talk about a film first, that's 103 years old.
Yes, let's
talk about Safety Last. I picked this up. I think my dad actually bought this for me at one point. I can't remember for what, but this is spy number 662 for Criterion. Safety Last, made in 1923, and I believe directed by Harold Lloyd. Harold Lloyd stars in it, and Harold Lloyd is of the vein of, if you don't know who he is, this is probably his most famous film, but he's in the vein of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, and that he does these kind of ridiculous, crazy gonzo stunts and goofy films where this guy keeps having bad things happen to him and continually kind of puts himself sometimes in these scenarios by doing stupid things sometimes. But ultimately, you get kind of a fun ending at the end of it. It's not dreary and dark or anything. And you just have a fun time watching these movies. That's what I love about this type of cinemas. It's just goofy fun. You can throw on for 80 minutes, 90 minutes.
Exactly.
And just kind of honestly turn your brain off a little bit and have fun and watch it.
Totally. Yeah. It was my second time watching it, and I enjoyed it just as much this time as I did the first time. A couple of things that I completely missed, for maybe I wasn't paying attention enough the first time, but I didn't realize his character's name is also Harold Lloyd, which I thought that was really funny that he just didn't even bother to have a different character name. Very interesting. But I just like it just because it's your typical, at least for the time, the man is having to go to the city to try and make a buck so he can get married to the love of his life that lives back, in the country. It's that type of thing. So it's got like a very traditional feeling story, and he gets to be a shop worker in the fabric business, and just silliness ensues throughout the whole movie. You can certainly tell that these aren't like oneers that he's doing. There's definitely like cut points to help with the stunt work.
Yeah.
They're not like egregious or anything, but look, we're working with a time period that it probably would have been difficult to do a oneer without somebody getting seriously hurt.
I mean, the cut points for the time are really not bad. If you watch some films, you can tell where they had to do it. I mean, there are literal jump cuts in some older 1920s films because they couldn't line up I'm sure they just couldn't go and view exactly where they were, and they tried to line it up and messed it up.
Yeah.
It is what it is for this film. I mean, it's fantastic for the most part.
I think it worked well. I mean, the way that the climactic scene of him climbing the building, they, obviously did the cuts in a smart way where we're going to a different scene altogether. So we're not necessarily seeing him climb all the way. He goes like a couple rungs. They obviously had to keep him tied off somehow, and we don't necessarily see that, but it's still really fantastic seeing him attempt to do these stunts. I don't know if necessarily. I think my favorite of the time is still Buster Keaton, but Harold Lloyd is just as iconic in the sense of groundbreaking type of stunt work and stuff like that, and character work as his predecessors were with Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton.
It wasn't pulling up at the time, but the directors are Fred C. Newmeyer and Sam Taylor. I just wanted to out there. And they directed most of Harold Lloyd's stuff, it looks like, which is interesting. I haven't checked out anything else by Harold Lloyd. But the thing I know about Harold Lloyd is, as a Jackie Chan fan, he's one of the big inspirations for Jackie Chan, up there with Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. And if I had to choose a favorite, it's Buster Keaton. Because I just love all the stuff he does in Sherlock Jr., The General, Steamboat Bill Jr.
So great,
he just does a fantastic job. I think he's personally my favorite of the three. Obviously, the most iconic of the three is Charlie Chaplin.
Right.
But this is just that. This is the era of filmmaking that kind of got left behind once sound came into effect.
Yeah.
You still had some slapstick stuff with a little bit of goofy stunt work, but really nothing on the level that these films had in terms of either putting their stars in actual danger or at least making it look like they were really in danger.
And it sort of just came to me, but it's a bit ironic that we watched Safety Last, and you've currently got a movie in cinemas right now, that being Motor City, where they're trying to do no dialogue or low amounts of dialogue, and just mostly stunt work, action work. And so it's almost harkening back to some of those silent films. No, not doing well, unfortunately. But look, that was one of the screen unseens that I saw a couple weeks ago, and I enjoyed what they were attempting to do in that movie. It felt fresh. It was something, even though it's obviously not fresh because it harkens back to silent films a bit, but it still was a unique experience in the cinema to watch Motor City. And Safety Last, it kind of it was paying an homage just in the sense that it was trying something different in the way of low dialogue, which this obviously there was dialogue, but it was the silent film error. So you're having to read the dialogue on the screen.
They'll speak, then you'll get a title card saying what they said.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's fantastic. And the thing I love about it is it's 73 minutes. Literally pop it in, watch it like that quick. More movies should be 73.
Look, I'm with you. I'm okay with movies like The Odyssey being over 3 hours. I get it, but you're right. There doesn't necessarily need to be epic 2.5 hour film, 2.5 hour or more films all the time. You need to be able to go experience some shorter films. Tight 90 is something that we love to talk about. How we love a tight 90. And this was only 73. So it counts as a movie.
If your film feels like 2 hours at 90, maybe you should explore looking at maybe an 80-minute or 70-minute cut. But you have to have someone that's in the room actually telling you it feels like that. So
exactly,
that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm glad that I got to watch it again. It was great.
It's something that kind of makes you think, like, how did they get all this done?
Yeah.
At the time in 1923, just the way of editing is very different than how we do it nowadays. With all digital stuff that we do today, they've literally got to splice the film up and get all that stuff put together. But there are some great special features on the Criterion that have kind of the clock tower thing, and not to kind of demystify the clock tower stunt, which looks really good, but there actually is a mattress right underneath him, and it's not that far below him. But it still looks so good.
It doesn't
really matter.
The way that they edited it and cut it, it looks great. I I'm sure there was hours of film footage that they had to play with just because the amount of times that maybe the stunt got messed up or just whatever. I can't imagine it being one take and move on. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of film left on the cutting room floor.
My question is, so this is all a setup of
yes.
He's trying to get people to come to the shop because his boss needs people to come to the shop so that they can make obviously revenue. And he comes up with this idea to climb the building because it's something that happened earlier in the film. And his friend's going to do it. Then he doesn't because the cop's nearby who saw them earlier. Okay. Yeah. He climbs up the building. That's all fine and good. How does this make you money?
Well, I guess at the
makes
time,
Harold's character money. Are people going to go in the shop now and buy stuff?
That's the idea. Like the marketing of a big stunt. It harkens back.
They're in the area.
It harkens back to like a used car salesman having some stunt on his lot where he does something silly or ridiculous to bring people to his lot. And the idea is they see the silly or ridiculous thing and then maybe stay around and buy a car. I mean, it's the same type of concept.
It brings in bodies, and some of those bodies may come in and buy stuff. I just was kind of like, is this really a smart idea? And you're going to pay the guy $1,000 for this?
Well, and it reminds me, because now that you're saying this, it seemed like their shop was busy anyways.
Yeah,
like
there was one day that was like
people. Yes,
packed. That was a whole gag in and of itself.
Yes, it was a great gag, but yeah, that was one of the best scenes of the movie, in fact, when he's having to just deal with all these different customers in the fabric sales area. That was just hilarious. I really liked this. And then the thing that these type of movies always do well is the mustache twirly type of villain or the foil. And his foil was kind of like his, not necessarily the big boss, but the guy, the in-between guy,
like
who was all like prim and proper and always wanting his employees to be the same way. It was a great character, and it just led to more hilarity.
Yeah, he's involved in my favorite gag in the movie. Probably, I've seen the clock tower so many times that doesn't really register as being necessarily my favorite gag. But my favorite gag in the movie was the office gag, where he's sneaks his girlfriend in the office, and then hijinks ensue as they accidentally start buzzing people in, and he's got to act like he's the boss, or he's got to pay people off to shoo them away, and and they hit all the buttons at once.
Right. I liked the classic sleight of hand gag also in that office scene where he's having his coworker pretend that he is the boss, and so he puts some money, he shows the coworker some money, puts it in the trash can, and then as the coworker turns around, he grabs the money. So then the coworker is trying to shift through the trash looking for the money, and it's not there anymore. It's just funny stuff. I mean, it's good slapstick stuff, and it works really well. There's no way that you could watch this movie and not enjoy what you're watching, because it's just fun. Like you said, it's a good like Sunday afternoon watch, 73 minutes, and you get to see some unique stunt work for the time. So, an easy watch, if you will.
The guy that helped inspire guys like Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan. I think Cruise is also mentioned,
and maybe even Tom Holland. We don't know.
Yeah, Tom Holland, and if not, Holland was definitely inspired by guys who were inspired by him. These guys,
exactly. Yeah, there's probably like an extra generation there. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah, I always forget. It's hard to remember that Tom Holland, he is only 30 years old.
Yeah.
And so he's been making movies since he was like 16, because he was in The Impossible, I think, when he was like 16. So he's been making movies for a really long time, and never really had that like TV career that people his age would have had to get into the movies. So it's a little bit different. He's really just been working in the industry that long. And it's neat to see.
Billy Elliot on West End.
Yeah, exactly. Kid.
Which is how he got some of his dance background. He's, according to this, he started shooting The Impossible at 14. It released when he was 16. Got a wide release, obviously. Speaking of Tom Holland, do you want to shift over to Spider-Man?
Well, first,
your pick.
I have to have my off-the-shelf pick. We're still in the Criterion collection, which is I'm going to be in the Criterion collection for a little while before I get out of there. But we're going to do something unique. I think also a pivot point in cinema, which Safety Last, you can say that was the beginning of the silent film era, and then it went away. This movie that I'm picking is basically considered like the last French noir film before the new wave starts. So you've got like the new wave directors like Godot and Truffaut that were like in 1959, 1960. This was like, this came out, I think, if I could see it, I have such bad lighting in here, 1958. This is Louis Malle's Elevator to the Gallows.
Okay.
So it's like I said, it's a French noir. So it's got those vibes. The thing that the movie, it's his feature debut, Louis Malle's feature debut, but also the legendary Miles Davis does the jazz score for this. And so it's a very well-known film. I happened to hear about it this year on Ben Makowitz's Talking Pictures podcast. One of his guests, he always asks his guest like what their favorite movie is. And I can't remember which of his guests this season said it, but they mentioned Elevator to the Gallows. And lo and behold, it had a Criterion, and Barnes & Noble had their sale recently. So I scooped this up during the sale. If you're keeping track of spine number, it's spine number 335. And I think it's probably on the Criterion channel and probably HBO Max. That's generally where they fall. I didn't look that up, but I'm just taking a stab that's probably where it sits. So super excited about it. The thing that I always love about film noir is the score, and the fact that Miles Davis did the score for this makes me pretty excited. So I'm really looking forward to watching it, and hopefully our listeners will join us in watching Elevator to the Gallows.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I've never seen that, so it'll be a first-time watch for me as well.
Outstanding.
Well, speaking of first-time watches,
Spider-Man.
Let's talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man Brand New Day, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, written by the writers of the original Spider-Man MCU trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Eric Summers, Chris McKenna, and also rewrites done by Justin Kurzel, or
yes.
I don't know. Anyway, he's not credited technically, but he's given like a special thanks or something in the credits.
Yeah.
Extra literary work or whatever they called it.
Right.
Fighting crime full-time as Spider-Man in a world that doesn't remember him, and the pressure of seeing his old friends move on without him sparks a change in Peter Parker he may not have the power to control. But that transformation might also be the only thing that can stop a shocking new threat to the city and those he loves, a powerful villain no one can even see. I think that's a pretty decent synopsis.
That is a decent synopsis. Let's start with the people that, and we've even had a couple of people in our Discord not necessarily say they love the movie. Mm-hmm. And I actually really am okay with that, because I don't want it to necessarily be a universally loved film. It's not perfect. No movie is perfect. Mm-hmm. But a couple of the things that I have seen a lot of people lament is there's no real like villain. Mm-hmm. And that is a take that I can understand, because really the villain, in a way, throughout the movie, really three main characters that we're kind of following through this a little bit, or three of the main characters that we're following, kind of the villain in their life is like the trauma that they've gone through. So it's almost more of like, when you're talking about Peter Parker, it's the trauma of having his friends forget him, the trauma of losing Aunt May, for the villain that's mentioned in the synopsis. And we're trying not to necessarily spoil too much, but something traumatic happens to that person as well, to make that person go through the process that they're going through. And then obviously, if you know of the Punisher, Frank, his trauma is his family's murdered violently. And so he's always got that going on. And I loved the tone of this movie just because it was very different than the John Watts movies. It's John Watts, right? Can't remember the name. Yeah, John Watts. All this, what got stuck in my head was Mark Webb, and that was the guy that did Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
But the John Watts trilogy what's more, I would say more of like your traditional like superhero film. There's a villain, a good guy, maybe not, the third Spider-Man. It sort of veers off all over the place, but there's a lot of villains in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got this one where we think there is a villain that Spider-Man has to stop, and it's not really necessarily that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's certainly some scenes where he is stopping that person from doing villainous things, but the reason that person wants to do villainous things is somewhat warranted in a way.
Well, it's understandable.
Not warranted. Understandable. Yes, you're right. We get a lot of things, and this isn't necessarily spoiling anything, but an organization that has been a through line in many of the Spider-Man films and in even some of the television shows is Damage Control. So
Mm-hmm.
Damage Control is back. I mean, they're kind of like a huge part of this, because in the MCU, this version of Damage Control, their job is to stop superheroes from doing things that could disrupt society. And that means,
yes, I think was really established in Wonder Man, kind of.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's why I said shows, because there was some like Wonder Man stuff going on.
So I feel like the last few times we've seen Damage Control, No Way Home a little bit as well. There's a little bit of setup there. But it's mostly been literal cleanup.
Right, yeah.
For the other stuff. So
now they've gotten in the game of maybe trying to like stop superheroes and supervillains in general by controlling their power in ways, maybe.
Yes.
Or at least having weaponry that can handle and dispel their power in ways.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. That really didn't start full-fledged until Wonder Man. Not that you have to have watched Wonder Man before this movie.
Yeah.
This is a great standalone movie, even to the point where they do a great job of flashbacks. So say for some weird reason you didn't see the third Spider-Man film, you probably could get the gist of it just watching this.
I said something to the effect in the Discord of saying the only required viewing, quote unquote, is No Way Home. And I say that only because I think you could watch this film without No Way Home. But I say that because I don't think you get the emotional impact of certain scenes without No Way Home. Specifically scenes with Ned and MJ.
Right, exactly.
I think that really hangs off No Way Home. Everything else is fine for the most part. And again, you could understand, okay, well, his friends don't remember him because of a spell that he had to cast, or the Doctor Strange had to cast at the end of No Way Home, and go from there. But
my younger daughter went and saw the movie with us and had not seen, I don't think she's seen any of the previous Spider-Man, except for maybe she was in the room not really paying attention while they were on in the background or something, and she loved the movie. And didn't just because it does a great job of setting up that these are people that Peter once knew, and you don't necessarily need to know the circumstances behind how, but for whatever reason, he doesn't know them or they don't know him anymore in the way that he knows them. And so she was able to follow the story just fine, because Destin did a great job of laying it out in that way, not making anything a required viewing. And you can get, just like you said, it's probably more impactful, obviously, if you've been there from the beginning. Like we saw it with I saw it with Rhett, obviously, and his daughter, who has been to pretty much all of the MCU movies with us, and a bunch of her friends, because we're old now, so his daughter's in college now, which is insane to me, because I remember when she was so small coming to all these MCU movies with us. And so it's been neat to see her evolution watching all of these movies with us. And she and her friends were super emotional during this movie, because it is very emotional. If you've been on this journey with Peter, the thing that Destin does better than a lot of directors is just his character work. You're able to have that emotion really impact you in a big way as you're watching his movies. And that's what I love. Shang-Chi had some really great emotional moments. This had a ton of just fantastic emotional moments. Like Frank had some great moments, and obviously Peter and MJ and Ned in different ways had some really great moments, and obviously the redhead character that you've seen in the trailer, she had some great emotional moments as well.
We haven't seen her with red hair in the trailers, but
yeah, we did. In one of them.
No, they didn't show. They only showed a clip in an ad.
Anybody is complaining, look, I think
fine.
anybody was gonna go see this movie saw it opening weekend.
I agree.
Yes, the main character has red hair. Spoiler alert.
I think it's a bit silly how much they've been keeping it under wraps, but
yeah, I get it though. I mean, look, without saying who the character is, obviously we know that they own the X-Men property now, and that is obviously going to be a big part of the MCU future. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Things about this film I loved.
Yes,
I just
please.
want to get to that. First off, maybe the best thing about this film is Spidey and Punisher together. I think their dynamic is so good. Their chemistry is so good. Just Bernthal and Holland together. I could watch a whole movie where it's just them taking on a bad guy.
Me too, totally.
But there's other stuff going on in this film, and there's other stuff that needs to go on in this film. I've seen some people complain that there's too much going on. I really think I'm okay with look. In the one hand, the villain of the film, quote unquote, is a person that mirrors Holland's character a lot, and something that he needs to see and kind of realize, he doesn't need to go down that path necessarily.
You know what not to interrupt you, but you know what frustrates me about people saying that there's too much going on in this film? These are the same people that have seen Infinity War and Endgame, and they're saying that there's too much going on in this movie. It's such a dumb argument. It's I don't get it.
I think the MJ and Ned. It's been 4 years since No Way Home. They do a little kind of flash forward at the beginning.
Like you said, a time jump.
Yeah, and I think the MJ and Ned stuff is handled really, really well.
Totally.
In only a way that makes total sense. And the ending of this film will be debated online for years until we get the next film. I feel like I
can see that.
That's if we get too deep into that might be kind of spoilery, but there is an interaction that happens, and people are going to be debating on whether or not
that person you're right,
something clicked or not. Yeah,
exactly. Because in theory, there's no way that anything could really be clicking, but maybe
there is.
Maybe there is. We don't know.
Yeah, though we were told that by a person that I don't think was very reliable at that time, and also, again, maybe we weren't getting the full picture there anyway. But
who knows? I mean, exactly. We don't know the machinations of how everything works on that side of the MCU for sure.
The music in the movie is really good.
Great song choice, great score by Giacchino. His theme work in this was perfect. Like I loved the score in this, but also the soundtrack. Like the song choice was really strong as well.
If I had one criticism of the score, it is that by the time the credits happen, I get it that the credits are a suite of the movie that's happened before. I almost want the theme to be restored at that point, because
that's a good point.
Peter has gotten to the point in this. Obviously, not to that's not going to spoil too much. Just to say that Peter is obviously in a better place by the end of this film.
Right.
And that's just a superhero film thing.
Yeah.
But what they did throughout the film is kind of remove notes here and there. And kind of make the theme feel a little bit emptier than normal because he's missing things in his life. And by the end of the movie, it's not that he's not still missing things. Because I think you could say that he still is, but I felt like there should have been maybe a more triumphant score at the end. That's just that's such a minor critique.
Yeah, I get it. No, I mean,
it's not even the music that's in the film itself. It's all credit stuff, but yeah.
And I didn't think that I'd be able to say this, but as far as like my favorite part or any of my favorite parts in the film, always just involve when we're just with Peter, more than Spider-Man. Like I've seen enough superhero films where I don't need it to be nonstop action and nonstop good guy punching bad guy in the face all the time. Like at this point, I think that the viewer should mature with the MCU and be okay with having more character moments and more deeper moments with these characters. Like we had a ton of that, like in Endgame. I mean, there were so many emotional moments in Endgame, and to have that, because I've seen that too, be some of the critique. Well, there's not enough superhero action. I'm like, well, look, I mean, Spider-Man's older now, and he's going through stuff, and why not let your audience experience some of that with him, like experience some of that character growth with him in a film, and it doesn't have to be nonstop action all the time. I like the character moments in this. I mean, I think probably my favorite scene in the movie is one shot of MJ looking across a crowd in a party scene and watching Peter just like take a sip of a drink, and just there was just like that, not obviously not recognition necessarily, but there was just that small character moment of them just looking at each other in a party scene. Now, this is right before her boyfriend comes in, which we've seen in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler alert. But I think that the quieter moments in this movie are the parts that are by far my favorite. Over there's some great action sequences. Like there's a great sequence at the beginning of the film involving Frank and a tank.
Yeah.
That is just like looks great. Like that stuff is always going to be fun to watch. But throw in some really cool character moments in a movie, and that's what puts it over the top for me. And that's why I give it like 4.5 out of 5, is when you can incorporate good character moments and quiet moments and just the characters talking with each other, and it doesn't have to be action 24/7. And I was okay that there wasn't a classic Spider-Man villain in this. I didn't need that.
Well, there are in the film, they just aren't the villains.
Right. I mean, they're in the film for 5 minutes in total, maybe, like screen time, maybe 10 for Scorpion.
10's a lot of movie. I don't know that Steve Rogers is in Infinity War for 10 minutes. That's
yeah, exactly. I guess you're right, but I mean, out of a 2.5-hour film, when you have Scorpion for maybe like 10 minutes, and some of it's maybe not Scorpion. I don't know. That's in the trailer too. That's not spoiler.
But this movie reminded me, not in tone or seriousness necessarily. There is serious stuff and there is a serious tone about this film, but maybe not as bleak a tone. This reminded me a lot of The Batman from 2022. And what I mean by that is Peter spends like 80-90% of this movie in costume, with his mask on for most of that time as well. And it reminded me a lot of The Batman, where we get very little Bruce.
Right.
And it's mostly him just parading around as a Batman. And they both kind of learn the lesson at the end that they need to be more than, he needs to be more than Spider-Man. Bruce, I think, realizes that he needs to be more than just the Batman. And I just thought it was interesting. They had very similar arcs. Again, this movie is a lot more family friendly, I'd say. A lot not as dark, not as bleak, but
I mean, there is a lot of surprising language in it, but
that's all mostly Punisher, though.
It is. You're right.
City walls don't blow up and flood and kill a bunch of people.
Right, exactly.
So it's not as depressing at the end, but I know I quite enjoyed this movie, and I was just struck by how much it felt like, how much that specific aspect of the film felt like the Batman to me. There is a scene with a character that I don't want to ruin, that had me laughing a lot in the theater. Specifically in reference to
I know what you're talking about.
Another Marvel character that shows up.
Right, exactly.
I thought that was great.
I think it was great. It's kind of weird that person's in the movie. It doesn't make too much sense, but I'm glad that person's there.
Well, what does that mean, though? What does it doesn't make too much? It's the same world. This should be happening more often.
I know, but you don't want that to happen too much. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I get it. I know what you're saying, but that specific character, it was just a funny, you're right, hilarious interaction. The writing in this is great. it's one of those things where you can tell that I think everybody was involved in the writing. I think I even read somewhere that Tom and Zendaya both wanted to be involved in just reworking some scenes that maybe didn't work. And so, I think everyone was involved in the best of ways.
My understanding is, and this is just based on interviews and stuff I've read, that, I mean, Zendaya has pretty much said that she got the script back and was like, where's the weird dialogue for her character specifically?
Yeah.
And apparently they had kind of matured her and she wasn't really talking like she used to.
Yeah, like maturing her too much. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so they had to kind of dial that back a little bit at her request. I get it. I know that.
Yeah, and I get it from a writing standpoint. These characters are supposed to be out of college now. And so and I'm sure the writer was like, oh, well, we need to mature them up a little bit. But you don't want to lose who the person is.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the character.
Right, exactly. And Ned, too. I'm glad that they didn't age him up to a point where he wasn't goofy, because he was still, to me, he was still perfectly Ned in this.
Yeah.
I mean, Ned, and it worked well.
Ned is not going to get what I imagine is a ton of love from this movie in terms of like headlines about his role in this movie, or praises from certain people. But I think he's kind of one of the best parts of the movie.
Oh, totally. I totally agree. I 100%
I think he
agree.
Makes this movie work in some ways.
He does.
With some of the emotional stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with Zendaya. Zendaya's got a specific couple scenes that are really, really good.
No, I think it totally. And the new members of the cast, I think all are fantastically cast as well. I loved. We obviously know that Sadie Sink is in the movie because we see Sadie Sink in the previews, I guess, a little bit, she's in the cast. So I'm not going to say who she's playing, but she is fantastic in the film and perfectly cast in the role that I'm sure you obviously know who she's playing by now. But I think it means great things for the future if they're building off of that character and expanding that side of the MCU.
I have not seen the theater parking lot so full.
Oh, I'm the same way.
In so long. I mean, probably since Endgame. Maybe No Way Home, but definitely Endgame. Maybe Deadpool, Wolverine a little bit. But I mean, the parking lot. I mean, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was around that area all the time because that's just in town. And I mean, it was full all day. I checked the tickets even when I wasn't going. Almost sold out showings every day. Some of the seats that weren't sold out for some of the showings were handicap spots where you can't even, there's not a seat. You just have to have a wheelchair to put there. It's just a crazy weekend, but I loved having a packed audience for this film because you got reactions to certain moments, and we can't talk specifics about some of those moments, but there is a scene that the audience had to have a full 180 in my showing. Literal clapping and minor cheering.
Oh, that's awesome.
One moment, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh no!"
Okay,
I think you know what scene I'm talking about.
No, that's fantastic. I mean,
but I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, I do too. And for me, it's the range of emotion too that the crowd that was in the movie theater was getting to have. Because
I heard people crying and
totally sniffling like that. That totally means that the movie is working, that it's capturing every emotion, and the crowd is with it from each step of the way. I understand, like I said earlier, not everybody is going to love this movie unabashedly. That maybe they went in expecting something different and wanting something different out of the movie, and so they're not going to be along for whatever ride that Destin Daniel Cretton's putting us through. But I really hope that he stays with the trilogy. I know that's going to I know he wants to work on Naruto or whatever, but I hope that they have locked him in or are working on locking him in along with obviously Tom for a new trilogy starting with Brand New Day, and we've get like 2 more out of Tom. And then let Tom go, ride off into the sunset.
Well, I think that's what he wants to do too.
I don't think that we need a Hugh Jackman situation where Tom is in his 50s playing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's fine to get 2 more movies out of him. Let him show up in whatever Avengers titled movies that they're going to put him in.
Yeah.
And that'll be that. I mean, and that's fine.
This film has a credit scene.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I first off got big applause at my theater. I think it's clearly connecting to an Avengers film. I think I know which one it is. I think people will be. I don't think most people will be able to parse what that thing is saying, and I don't even know if I fully understand what it's saying.
I mean,
just a heads up. There's a credit scene right at the end.
Yeah,
right at the end. But
yeah, there's no mid-credit scene. In other words, like we've often seen a mid-credit scene, and there is not one. It's just an actual end credit scene. So that's fine. Some of the other stuff that I loved in this, I think this is the best that we've gotten to see Mark Ruffalo in several roles as Bruce Banner,
very limited
as the Hulk. I'm glad at where that character is now. I'll just say that.
Well, and I think this movie, so Dad and I were talking, he didn't really understand why he was in the movie. And I obviously there are thematic reasons and scientific reasons for him to be in the movie, but I really felt like
reasons.
Yeah. Well, that's a part of the scientific stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like, to me, the big reason why you put him in the movie is exactly what happens in the third act. I think that they want to get that. I think they want to put his character there.
Exactly.
And go forward from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, without touching on that too hard.
Without touching on that too much. But I'm glad, like what they did to his character in She-Hulk was horrendous. Like, it was just horrendous. And I'm glad that we're beyond that now. And I think that everybody knows not to go back to that.
Yeah.
So I think Feige will not let that happen again. And I don't know. And I also hope that and this is a She-Hulk spoiler, not a spoiler for Brand New Day, but I hope we never see Scar again either. Like, I never want to see that character pop up. Maybe show him dying in Secret Wars, and that's fine. But no, I mean, this is exactly the jolt of energy that the MCU needed going into Doomsday, because I still think that there's people that are probably scoffing at Robert Downey Jr. coming back in this manner. In fact, I know there are. But the success of Brand New Day is gonna, like I said, gonna be that jolt that I think everybody's going to be so hyped for Doomsday because of Brand New Day. And so the goal accomplished as far as Feige is concerned, letting Sony probably get more of the accolades for this because they're kind of the studio mostly behind it. But Feige is totally obviously involved with Destin Daniel Cretton, because he was supposed to do
Kang
Dynasty.
Yeah. And
obviously for a lot of different reasons, that's not happening. And so we've got this, and I was sort of lamenting the fact that over the next 2 years, we're only getting 2 more MCU films. But I think this is probably the best thing for the MCU, is to give us Doomsday in December of this year, Secret Wars in December of next year. And then in 2028, we get sort of back on a schedule of two or three films a year. In fact, if everything gets filmed correctly like it's supposed to, we will have 3 MCU films in 2028. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if that actually happens or not. But that's what I hope happens, because I don't mind it. I'm not one of those fans that is like, don't give me too much content. I mean, give me all the content. I want it all.
I am at this point. I don't want TV content anymore. I'm kind of
I mean,
for the most part,
I'm okay with Vision Quest, obviously, because that was already in the can. I mean, that was already coming out.
Look, and I'll watch it.
I'm okay with Daredevil also. I mean, because Daredevil just does feel more like a television show than, and I think lends to that format more than it would like a movie. I mean, obviously we saw the Ben Affleck film sort of not really work well, but I think with a character like Matt Murdock, you can give us like 8 episodes a season and sort of like get to know that character more. And we've gotten to know this Matt Murdock a lot because of the Netflix series and now the Disney Plus series. So I'm okay with that being on there. But yeah, for the most part, I do agree with you that I think Disney Plus doesn't need to have as much MCU content as it did before.
Yeah, I'm kind of, and it seems like they're being kind of phased out a little bit. At least the amount we were getting, which I'm okay with. At the end of the day, it clearly stretched Feige and company thin.
Totally.
It was a mandate from Disney to produce content on there, to just produce content.
Right.
And obviously Marvel Studios thought that it would work too, or else they wouldn't have gone forward with the projects they went forward with. But just to me, it did not. There are some great things. Loki, I'll always be grateful for. WandaVision was a solid, start back for the MCU after COVID. There are some other shows I like, but ultimately, I'm just kind of like, if we want to do some season 2s, that's fine. But let's not do a ton more live action shows.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, and it even seems like they've pivoted because, Nova was supposed to be a Disney Plus show, and now they've pivoted to it likely being a movie. I don't know how long that will be down the road because it seems like they've got Feige says they have plans until 2042.
Yeah, well, they always have a whiteboard.
Always a map. Yeah,
there's always been a map for they've got a bare bones plan always for the next 10, 15 years.
Right.
You've got to see how the audience reacts to things and then adjust from there. I mean, that's always been the case.
Yeah, totally.
The thing is, the audience always reacted well to things early on, for the most part. Post Avengers, it's really recently that they've had to pivot with things like Kang and some of the shows that didn't work out. So,
look, I mean, if we get to 2028 and we get the 3 movies that they're saying that we're going to get, which I know X-Men hasn't officially been announced, but I mean, as far as the calendar is concerned, in theory, we're going to have X-Men in May of 2028. And then we're going to have Ghost Rider with Ryan Gosling in July of 2028. And then Black Panther 3 with David Johnson as T'Challa Jr. in December of 2028. So, I mean, that is 3 home runs right there if they can actually make it work. Tons of rumors about X-Men casting, and they're just rumors right now, so we won't necessarily mention any of them because until Disney comes out and says, yes, this is who's cast, it's just in the trades, and you can usually, if it's in the trades,
ones in the trades are correct.
Yeah.
It's the other ones that are floating around there that are
right.
They're probably in the works, but they're not officially signed.
Exactly.
So the only one that's officially out there as being signed is Samara Weaving as Emma Frost.
Exactly. So look,
you can figure out another one if you go to see Spider-Man Brand New Day, but we don't want to ruin that surprise.
The first X-Men is Miss Marvel, though.
Yeah.
The first mutant.
Yeah. Then you can count Namor because he's a mutant. Spidey's a mutate.
Different. Exactly.
Different. But I think you see some of that in the movie. He is mutating a little bit. Which I think kind of lends to the story, kind of A and B storylines there. But I really enjoyed this. To me, it's incredible what's happening outside of the film. Like, the film itself is good. It's incredible to see the response to the film. And just the amount of people that are going to see it in droves and filling up theaters. And I'm excited and happy for theaters. I know that theater workers are going through it this weekend, but at the same time, it's only a good thing for their jobs and the theaters themselves. So,
I mean, it's obviously going to be $1 billion film. I'm not going to call that it's going to hit 2 billion, but it's going to be at least 1.5.
If it doesn't hit 2 billion, that'd be surprising at this point.
Well, at some point there are other movies that are going to come out that people might want to go see instead of just
$900 million opening. There's only one other film that's opened that much, and it made $2 billion very easily.
Very easily, yeah. We'll see. I mean, the good news is August really is not much of a competition. There's really not much coming out in August. So really, the Odyssey and Spider-Man are going to continue doing gangbusters throughout. Like in some markets, I don't know necessarily in the smaller markets, but in the markets that have the 70 millimeter IMAX, that's like booked up until mid-September for the Odyssey. Yeah. So those particular types of projectors.
Yes, there's only like 33 of those in the U.S.
There's not that many. So
End of Oak Street's going to get the next IMAX slot for.
See, not in my market. In my market, it's going to continue to be the Odyssey, which is crazy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like they're going to at least right now, it does not look like End of Oak Street is getting the one IMAX that we have in town. So they're going to continue. Like, if AMC gets any choice, the choice that they should make is to keep the Odyssey in IMAX.
Well, it depends on where it is at that point versus the projections for End of Oak Street. But yeah, I know, I get what you're saying. That's surprising to me. I would have thought it would just be the 70 millimeters at that point because at some point the Odyssey will start to have diminishing returns keeping it in there.
Until it doesn't, though, if AMC gets to choose to keep it, like, I don't think that what studio is doing End of Oak Street is it?
It's Warner.
Warner, yeah. I don't think that they have the power to say bump Odyssey for our End of Oak Street movie. I mean, I think if anything, they're allowed to, like, the theaters are allowed to do whatever they want to that's making them money. So it's not in any PLF that I can tell, at least in my market. And Birmingham's a really bad market for, generally speaking, Birmingham's not the best market for movies. It's more like Nashville, Atlanta is what you would look to, just because they're bigger markets. But no, the End of Oak Street's just going to be in little side theaters, apparently. I don't know.
It's listed on the IMAX website.
Yeah, it is.
As well as Dog Stars later.
Yeah, that's end of August. So that does have a chance of actually being in IMAX.
Onslaught at the beginning of September.
Yeah.
And then Resident Evil, which I have to think at that point, mid-September, right there.
Right.
Probably will be in IMAX.
Yeah. And look, I'd love to see End of Oak Street in IMAX, but if it's not in it, then I'll just go see it in the side theater, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll cover that. We'll probably be covering that one.
Oh, I know. I've got my ticket already for it. So yeah, I plan to watch it. So I'm actually somewhat excited for that movie. So
where can people find you online, Mikey?
Well, we did want to say that our focus for next week.
Oh yeah, it's one night only.
Is one night only, which usually is not the
surprise them right at the end.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a movie that we would normally cover, but spoiler alert: Rhett and I did get to see One Night Only, and I think it's worth watching. So that we are going to have our focus on that next week. They can find me at on X at the Michael Nip. I'm also on Letterboxd, but I spend most of my time in our newly nitro infused Discord. But I'll let Garrison tell you more about that.
You can find FUN3 on Twitter and Letterboxd. You can find me at GRYFUN on there. You can find us at Cinema Debrief on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us at cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com if you want to get into our Discord or send us a note. The Discord, great community, lots of people in there. We have great conversations about the movies that are coming out. Sometimes you can disagree with us. That's fine. We're cool with dissent. If you want to join the community, again, just email us or DM us, and we'll be happy to bring you in as long as you're not a bot or anything like that. We will see you guys next week. 2 films, Elevator to the Gallows and One Night Only.